Buffs Nation, what's going on? Back at it again. We're excited to be talking about the CU Buffs, the 3-2 CU Buffs that very little, media members predicted us to be in this spot right now. And I'm honored to have my first roundtable here, probably since the summer. Joining me, of course, you have seen him on this channel a handful of times. That is Laurence with a U. Thank you for joining. And Steve of the Go Route. Again, you've been on the channel a bunch of times as well. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining. And everybody that's watching in the chat, be sure to hit that like. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I always love to know where our viewers are at. But let's go ahead and get started and break down this game, okay? USC, man, gets a 7-point victory, if I remember correctly, 7 or 6-point victory. High scoring game. Let's just get brief takeaways from everybody on this. We'll go ahead and start first with Laurence.
Yeah, so if you're a believer in moral victories, I mean they did put up in the second half, referring to CU, that is. They fought back from the terrible start that we're accustomed to seeing now, but they were able to make it interesting at the end. And with the surprise play, if you will, from Amarian Miller. Marion Miller, the receiver, not Amarian Cooper. Amarian Cooper did hold his own for the most part, but Amarian Miller showed up with a 196-yard receiving day, 7 catches.
Insane, man.
Looking like the playmaker out there that was on the sideline. So that's definitely a sign of things to come. Hopefully, that we can continue that momentum going forward and get our young guys to look. And then we can't go without mentioning Kamani McLean stepping in at that right corner spot and locking it down for the most part. Doing his job, living up to that 5-star billing coming out of Florida that we all thought he would. So those were 2 positives. If one thing I will say that I would like to work on, because there's been a lot of discussion on numerous channels and you heard it from him himself, is that last drive. We could say, should they have gone for the surefire touchdown and no matter how long it took, or should they have played with pace, score, and rely on your defense to get a 3-and-out? Because what's more likely, in your opinion, a 3-and-out, even though it's Caleb Williams, or an onside kick? And we all saw the onside kick went. So that's my only criticism from CU. I would have liked to see if Shedeur did check out of those plays, check into some pass plays. It's not bad to go up the middle, but you got to go up the middle deep, not with a run play that's going to take a minute off the clock per every run that you call. So we'll shake that off going forward. I have a saying now, #win out. That's what I'm expecting from CU going forward. But those were my main takeaways from the USC game.
Man, I love that. Yeah, a lot of similar takeaways here on my end as well. But I want to hear Steve's takeaways. What are your thoughts on the offense, our execution, the second half, all that?
You know what, to me, man, it's all about confidence. And I felt like the kids were just lacking confidence, discipline, and Oregon kind of shook them up a bit. You want to see how they were going to, come back in this game at home. A little shaky the first 2 quarters. They got to the third. Things started clicking. Players started getting inserted, some fresh legs. And then things just went off from there. Shedeur had Amarian Miller. He had, good old Kermani, good old number 1, doing his thing, to go ahead and play good defense, being that 5-star, like good old Laurence said as well. And honestly, you expect that because this team showed who they were in week 1 against TCU. They put the lights out and they blew everyone's doors off. No one expected that offense to be that explosive, and it was. So to see it come back to life with other players inserted lets me now know, as everyone has been saying around college football, he's got a program. Coach Prime has got a program that is building depth, and guys are believing. And when you get guys believing, that's a very dangerous thing when it comes to competitive sports, especially in football, because once the snowball gets going, it just keeps building. Recruits hear it, players hear it in the locker room, and you know what? Every guy in that locker room feels like he is the man, he is the dog, and he's going to help get it done. Confidence is a scary, scary thing.
No doubt. And man, yeah, it was important to see some new guys kind of have their moment this past game. I mean, again, like you hit on, Laurence, Omari and Miller having almost 200 yards of offense essentially in one half. Absolutely incredible stuff. I forgot that he was this makes it all, so much more sweet.
Cornhusker.
Yes, was a Cornhusker flip. So, I mean, they could really be using a guy like Omarion right now, man, with the lack of offense that they have going over there, man. But, I'll comment, too, on Laurence, what you were saying about how, you kind of wish you had a little bit more urgency there at the end of the game. I was watching the game again, and I can't even remember, man, even today, where our second half timeouts went. I can't, I don't even know where they went. I can't tell you. But, man, I was mentioning this to Rob, and curious what you guys think about this. But, man, if there's I guess an offensive group to or a position group to criticize or a phase to criticize, it should not be the offense, man. We are putting up points. And, if we just handle our business on special teams, that's how I feel about it. And take away one pass from Shedeur, I mean, we win that game outright. We win it well, and we're talking about being ranked going into week 6 here. But were there any things I guess surprising? For neither of you. I guess we can start with you, Laurence. That you were excited to see. From specific units or other players outside of Cormani and Omarion?
I do think Reggie Young did a good job coming in for sy'veon Washington at right tackle, pretty much holding his own. And we'll get to injuries in a little while, but that's something I want to touch on once we do get there. But, he did an admirable job, considering the circumstance, filling in at that right tackle spot. Anthony Hankerson ran the ball rather well. He wasn't spectacular, but he was solid. Averaged close to 5 yards a carry, every time he touched the ball. So that was definitely a positive sign to get the run game going, and hopefully that can translate to the other backs as well. A surprise. That won't be a positive surprise. But why the hell are we trying a wheel punt? We haven't done that all season. We have a punter back there with a monster leg that doesn't need to roll out 3 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards to kick the ball. Why are we trying that? Going back to what you said about this, we got to clean up special teams up. We got a block field goal with Feely.
That's the difference, man, right there. Because they scored a touchdown, and what the hell? I still don't understand, man, what happened there. I don't know if it was a fake because it didn't look like a. I don't know. That
play was doomed from the start, man. As soon as he took 2 steps, I said, "Oh no, why?"
Yeah,
just
where's he going? Where's he going?
It was not that there was no pressure or anything there. He just could have just pointed and turned the field position over. But going back to the original question, David. Yeah, I was definitely astonished at the job that the players that had to fill in when they did. Yeah. Including Kamrani, including Reggie Young, including Amari and Miller. They all did admirable jobs. And let's not forget Rod Ward at safety. Also played a solid game for the most part, to which Coach Prime today or yesterday actually gave him praise for the job he did, filling in for Shiloh. So that should be a sign of things to come as well, that Rod Ward actually gets some more on-the-field time as opposed to just playing on special teams. So those are the players that stood out to me.
Yeah, definitely. Any others on your end, Steve, or just any other things that you were really happy about with this game?
Yeah, honestly, I think Laurence did a great job. He's hitting them all pretty solid here. Jace Feely, I'm worried about the kicking game. Mata is solid, but you want a guy you can rely upon to be that ace kicker. So I'm a little worried there in the kicking game. Roger Ward, stepped in, safety's down. It's good to see Slusher coming back, hopefully sometime soon. But, right now, depth is going to be, the Achilles heel that Colorado has to deal with right now. What depth they have and how well can they play beyond the starters. I think one thing I do want to touch on, though, is Sean Lewis. Sean Lewis played a great game. His scheme in the second half, the way he went ahead and ran that offense. Now I'll give him some some leeway in that the last drive because he was trying to run the ball, which I don't understand. He should have been passing it, and Shador never went ahead and checked out of the pass. He kept going to the run. It was coming in, and Shador said, "I wish I would have went ahead and went to the pass." They'll learn, they'll figure it out. But beyond that last drive, Colorado played. Sean Lewis did a great job coaching that offense, so I give him immense props for that one. So,
yeah, no doubt. And on my rewatch today, I was talking about this with Rob. There's some things that I want to give some players and coaches that I want to give some credit that I don't think I gave them as much credit. I have been critical, man, of this interior line. They played a good game last week. Jack Bailey, Landon Beebe, those are guys that I have been critical of, being like, hey, man, when can we see some Jeremiah McCrinnon? And some of these other guys, Kareem Harden, come on now. They played a really great game. And I think Jack Bailey and Van Wells specifically stuck out to me with how they were getting downfield with some of these screenplays that they were calling, like the Michael Harrison screenplay. Man, Jack Bailey was right down there helping that get busted open. Van Wells, man, did some pulling, if I remember correctly, kind of helping bust these Anthony Hankerson runs open. So I want to give them credit because that has been a group that I have been pretty critical of. And it was awesome to see them have a good game against USC, especially, again, not the best defense, we know that, but they definitely have some size and talent on that defensive line. And that was great to see. And then with Sean Lewis, Steve, it was funny because going back and watching it, I actually liked a lot of the play calls that he actually called in the first quarter. We just didn't go out and execute, man. Or I was pointing this out to Rob, is like we had this really nice third down halfback screen called, and it went to Hankerson. I think probably looking at the film, probably on Sunday, he probably realized, man, he could have had that first down if he just cut that thing outside instead of inside. But there were some different plays. Yeah, go ahead, Laurence.
I'm glad you mentioned that, David, because going back to Coach Prime's press conference right after the game, he did mention that a couple of the plays that Hankerson almost bust, he wished he could hit the pause button and then sub him for Dylan so Dylan can hit the home run. He did say that on more than one play. And then upon rewatching the game myself, I did say like Hankerson did the solid 5, 6, 7 yard. But on some of those runs or screens, or, if that was substituted for Dylan, he would have broke those for home runs, man. So I agree there. That's a great observation, and I did notice the same thing.
Yeah. Well, thanks for pointing that out, Laurence. I didn't hear that in the press conference. And before we go forward, I want to give a quick shout to Coach G. I mean, he's been following this channel forever. Thank you so much for the super chat. That means the world. Thank you so much. And if there's a question you want us to answer, just let us know. But yeah, the offensive line played good. Reggie Young, again, replacing sy'veon Washington. I'm trying to think if there were some more players that I wanted to call out. I thought Jordan Dominic did a pretty good job, even in run defense, for maybe a smaller edge compared to some other guys, that we might see, on the schedule. I think that he did a really good job. And then, of course, Shador. There was basically one throw that I wish that, we could have back or he could have back. But, he's on pace to blow away all the single season school records right now. I think he's got 15 touchdowns, almost 2,000 passing yards. He's absolutely destroying it. So, any last thoughts, gentlemen, on USC, or shall we move forward to discussing ASU.
No, I agree with everything you said, David. The one thing I want to point out as well, one last play that was kind of like head scratching. I think it was a 4th and 5 where Sean Lewis called a rollout to the right with Shador. Wasn't a fan of that either.
Yeah,
wasn't a fan of that rollout because you limited yourself when you're rolling out to the trip side. You know, if that's covered, which it was, now there's nothing you could do but throw the ball up, which is likely going to get an interception. You know, Shador for the most part doesn't do that. So. But yeah, I will say overall he did call a good game, and overall good effort by all the players. Again, Shador played a magnificent game, and if it wasn't for the year that Caleb Williams is having, he'd be right there still in Heisman contention. So,
yeah,
no doubt, yeah, and the fact that I think we held USC to 14 points in the second half, if I remember correctly. I mean, just huge. The defense really stepped up. They were getting pressure. Cameron Silman Craig again. I mean, I think from what I've seen, like people are kind of about half and half. Do we just insert Slusher back into there? Man, it's going to be hard to play Cameron, off the field right now because, I mean, that man is just making plays. He has been as solid as they come right now. And personally, I don't think you mess with that mojo. That's just me.
No, I agree. Here's a question I'm going to ask you guys. When it's all said and done, when we get to, let's say, December, who's a better team, Oregon or USC?
Oh,
Oregon.
I mean, I have my answer. Yeah, I have my answer, Oregon. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with Oregon just because.
Go ahead, David.
They were just menacing, man. They play with this edge that USC doesn't. They don't play with, man. I'll keep my answer short. What about you, Lauren?
I'm going to go with USC, and I'm just going to simply because of the best player. So I'll take Caleb Williams over Bo Nix all day, every day, and that's why, because of that X factor right there, I'm going to have to go with USC.
I'll do the dark horse in Michael Penix, Washington, because that guy is gonna do some damage. Luckily, Colorado doesn't play him, but man, if they did, that'd be a more frightening schedule.
Yes.
I agree with that, Steve.
It's going to be fun, man, to see what happens with just this Pac-12 conference kind of showdown. Who ends up coming out of it, man? Because man, regardless of who comes out of the conference this year, heck, even if it's USC, even though they blew up the conference, we can all blame them. It would be kind of fun to see a Pac team finally get it done, get that national title, and then the conference blow up. But
that would be great.
Everyone
that would be
bounces.
epic.
But that's just me. But let's get into ASU, this matchup coming up. Laurence, man, you hit the nail on the head, man. Expectation should be, to win out. Like, I feel like we faced our two toughest teams, our two toughest tests right now. Utah on the road is going to be a big test. But I think, we're going to see this team get better continually and improve and peak. And, I think the expectation should be that we can cover. But I will I'll try not to swear, but good Lord, man. This special team unit is giving me gray hairs. If we can just play solid football, on the special teams unit, I think that it's going to make a difference, man, with some of these close games that we're in. But that's one key that I'm looking forward to against ASU is dominating in all three phases, special teams. We'll start with you, Steve. What are you looking forward to right now against ASU?
Man, you know what? There should be a game that Colorado, controls a little more than the USC Oregon game. Just stay in the game more and, they'll be able to go ahead and more of an even playing field with ASU. But I got to be honest. I mean, Trenton, the new quarterback coming in for Jaden, he's playing pretty solid. He's not, a QB1, but he's definitely doing his job when it comes to getting the ball in the right spot. They went down to the wire with Cal. Cal did beat them this past weekend, but he's a serviceable quarterback. He's going to do well until Jaden, gets back from his injury. And that running back, dude, Cameron Scadaboo, I got to be honest. Cameron Scadaboo has got to be the best name in college football. I don't care who it is this year. But that guy threw to his quarterback off And then he went ahead and he like caught balls and guys his height and his size should not be catching. So Cameron Scadaboo, even though we're playing this weekend, I'm gonna watch that guy all year because that guy is fun to say his name, but also fun to watch. Guy's just a gamer. It's gonna be this game is probably gonna be close because both teams are gonna be scrappy trying to get that win because both teams are losing right now. I know Arizona State's 1-4. But I expect Colorado to go into Arizona, maybe in the third, fourth quarter, kind of pull it away a little bit. As long as Colorado understands we need to hit that gas pedal and keep going, do not stop. Because I feel like every game Colorado plays, it's 45 points. It's almost 30, 40, 45. It's a numbers game. So they got to keep putting up points. Hopefully the kicking game, like you said, David, gets in gear. But right now, I think they're gonna pull it out in Arizona. So.
No doubt. Yeah, I think you brought up a great point about Scadaboo, man. I think he's the key to stopping any momentum on that offense getting going. What about your keys to the game, Laurence?
First, I'd like to give a shout out to Rico Knowles because he put me up on Scadaboo several months ago when he was in the transfer portal. So,
no way. Where did he even transfer?
Yeah, where's he from?
He came from a smaller school. I want to say like San Jose State or something like that.
Okay.
He came from a smaller school. But Rico Knowles pointed him out. Like, you guys are sleeping on this Scadaboo kid. He actually has good tape. So, yeah, he definitely is a player. I have to look that up and see where he came from. Maybe one of you guys could check.
Sacramento State.
Yeah, Sacramento State. Yep.
Dang,
I knew it was a smaller school. But yeah, keys to the game. Coach Prime mentioned it in a couple of the well-off videos. Getting off to a fast start. I mean, we have yet to do that all year. I guess you can make the case against TCU. That was a sort of a fast start, but put together a complete game. I would like to see them do that so they can build confidence as they get to the latter part of the schedule, as they get to the UCLAs and the Oregon States and the Utah at the end of the year. I want them to be a confident team going into those games. That's why I expect them to win out. But that starts now by taking care of the opponents you should be able to take care of and just allowing the talent to win out. But I do want them to go in there hungry, like Steve mentioned, and actually put together a complete game, all three phases, execute on defense, take the ball away, no bonehead plays on offense, keep that momentum from establishing a running game against USC going. And yeah, let's get some more breakout players from some of our young freshmen that had an opportunity to shine against USC. Let that keep going and let that confidence keep building so that when Travis does come back, we can have a lockdown secondary, a true no-fly zone like we envisioned that we were going to have over the summer.
Yes.
So that's what I'd like to see. But I definitely expect for them to pull away somewhere in the second half, like Steve mentioned, maybe in the third quarter or so, and put them away, going to Stanford and, with supreme confidence so we can put them away as well.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's real important, man, to, like you said, get a fast start. When I was chatting with Rob, a couple hours ago, he was saying, we just need to call the game that we called in the fourth quarter this past week. We just need to call that, in the first quarter. Get out because, man,
right.
Some of y'all are saying, like Darius is saying here, don't sleep on ASU.
Yeah.
Yes, a third of their team is on injured reserve right now, but like they have been playing hard, and like USC came in there and allowed them to hang around, and I believe that was a one-score game going into the fourth quarter, or at least close to it. It was a close game, and what I would like to see CU do is, instead of what we did with Nebraska or how we played CSU, is to not even give these guys any bit of belief. Come out of there and get out to a strong, fast lead in that first quarter and keep the gas on, or keep the, what's the phrase? I don't know, man. Have the gas on high, whatever it is. I want to see a big blowout. That's
play with pace, like
yes,
Sean Lewis wants to. That's what he was preaching the entire summer. And they have yet to do that continuously. They'll do it for a drive, and then they'll stop. Then they'll do it for a drive, and 2 quarters later, and then they'll stop. Then they'll have to play with pace because they're down 7 or down 14. Let's play with pace and jump on them, put the foot on their necks, and put them away. So that the second half we're playing Ryan Staub and Caleb Mathis and company. That's what we need to do. Coach G put it in the chat. Dominate. One word. That's right. What we need to do. Go in there, dominate.
Yeah. So I'm gonna chime in for a second, guys. Here's a stat I didn't know. So Colorado versus Arizona State, they're 3-10 against Arizona State. So Arizona State is a team that has always been sneaky. Arizona, I mean, Colorado really has not been good in the Pac-12 period. But Arizona State, they're 3-10, and I'm going through my head, Rolodexing through all these games in the Pac-12 network, and Arizona State had a lot of great quarterbacks, a lot of great receivers, a lot of great offensively they've been great. So I've actually seen a lot of games that Arizona has just destroyed Colorado teams. So I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to pull back a little bit here and say go in there, keep it close. Find a way to win, and like you said, second half, pull away. But, at this point on, this team has to find out, how to set yourself apart, like, tier 2, tier 3, from those lower tier teams. But I'm a little hesitant against that record because that's not a favorable record against Arizona. So,
well, the good news is that this is our first team that we've had in quite a long time filled with dogs, and Arizona State has 13 turnovers so far this season.
That's true.
And that is something that I want to see. I want to see domination, like Coach G said, in all phases of the game. Let's get their third string quarterback to throw some interceptions.
My gosh.
Let's lock down Scadaboo. I mean, I don't care if we got to double team this man. I feel like he's the key to everything for that offense going. So if you stop him, the defense is going to have a field day. But going into Arizona, it's going to be hot. It's going to be uncomfortable. And yeah, we got to play better on the road than how we played against, Oregon. Luckily, it's not nearly that environment.
No, it's not that environment, but on the road, talent has to win out. And if you look at the blueprint going all the way back to JSU, the last couple of years, before Coach Prime got there, JSU had losing streaks against a lot of the teams they played, the Southerns, the Arkansas Pine Bluffs, and the FAMUs as well. But they totally annihilated all of those teams this year because they had superior talent. So that's what I expect overall. Yeah, the historical record isn't favorable for CU. It may be a close game, and most conference games, you never know what can happen. But at some point, talent just has to win out. And that's what I expect to happen once they go to Tempe, that the talent shows itself, the disparity in talent shows itself, and they put them away. And they do the same thing the next week when they play Stanford. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
No mercy. Yeah.
I have a feeling Dave's going to get a lot of Arizona fans coming into his comment section. Just third string. Give me your third string. All right.
Well, Keck, he might be watching. I don't know. He's one of my moderators. He's an Arizona State fan. So we'll see what he has to say. But, I want to see us, man, approach this how Oregon approached the game against us, where it was like, we know we're the better team, and we are just going to dominate you from the opening kickoff till that clock hits 0. And that's what I want to see. Again, and to do that, you can't underestimate your opponent. Like, you have to be locked in on the keys to their offense, but there is a lot of opportunity here, for CU to continue to build off of what we built in that second half against USC with the run game, with getting turnovers. I think we played clean special teams, the second half. I think we did. So that's what it would be great to see. Cheryl brought up this question. Cheryl C, y'all go subscribe to her if you haven't. She's amazing. She puts out like 45-minute documentaries on like every player. It's incredible what she does.
Yes,
so she had a question for you, Laurence. Says, because you follow JSU. I was thinking about why Smoke and Alton aren't getting much playing time. Doesn't it really come down to who Shedeur feels most comfortable with? And then the backs playing have the most familiarity with Shedeur. And when Alton and Smoke do get out there, they basically have to make a big play to stay out there. Do you agree? What are your thoughts on that?
I partially agree. So if it was based on familiarity, we'll see sy'veon Wilkerson back there a lot more because he played with Shedeur last year. So it's partially based on that, and we do see sy'veon getting some carries here and there in spot duty. They're rolling with Dylan, in my opinion, because of what happens on the practice field. So I think Dylan is out there breaking long runs every day in practice. So they can't help but not to play him as the primary back, despite his lack of size. And you may not, if we watch a whole game, we may not say that, oh man, Dylan has 125 yards rushing or anything like that. But yet his stats show that he's averaging 5 yards a carry. So his production is not really that bad. It's just not what it was. What we saw in the first game. You know, he hasn't scored a touchdown since. But I think that's what it boils down to. And Coach Prime, if you look at all the players, you have to perform in practice in order to play on the field. He's not going to play you just off sheer comfortability or how familiar you are with the offense, how familiar you are with Shedeur. You have to practice in order to play, which is why the freshman that we saw shine against USC had not played that much until an injury forced him on the field. And I think it'll continue to be that way. So, for example, Carmani, if Carmani resorts back to the behavior that has led up to him not playing, aside from substituting Jaquez Robertson, because Jaquez Robertson wasn't playing that well, then he won't get that much playing time either. But hopefully this catapults Carmani and say, okay, now I have the blueprint. Now I perform. I got a taste of game action. I'm going to put in that extra film study. I'm going to work with Travis on the side. I'm going to show the dedication Monday through Friday so I can stay on the field. Now that I touch the field, I don't want to get off the field now. So it's a method to his madness what Coach Prime is doing. But going back to the question, I think he's playing the running backs off of what happens in practice. That's my opinion.
No doubt. Steve, any thoughts on that?
No, I think Laurence nailed it. I mean, it's pretty much comes down to what we see like on Wall of Media and all the stuff behind the scenes. You know, Dylan Edwards, the one who's, breaking out big plays. I think those other guys have good depth, but I think Shell nailed it. When they come in the game, they get one ball and they go ahead and they make it, they get like 2-3 yards, and they get back on the sideline. And here comes Edwards and here comes Hankerson. So I think it's about who was doing the best on the practice field. And I want Smoke to do well. I want McCaskill to do well. But, if they can't get the reps in to make an impact, then I guess we're rolling with Edwards and Hankerson until something changes, an injury. And then all of a sudden you're going to see another back come in. Hopefully they can produce. So, I would love to see Edwards, get more, little more touches. I don't know what's going on when it comes to space. Maybe people are reading the bubble screens more. But for some reason we can't get him in space anymore. And when we try to get the ball on the line, he just really can't block anyone right now. They're doing better, but they can't get holes, so he has nothing to run through. So it's kind of like a mixed bag. So that's why they think Hankerson got more touches, because he's a bigger back and he's able to, go through the line a little better than Edwards is.
Yeah. Put that man in the slot. I'm still waiting to see that.
I agree.
I agree.
Move him around. Don't just have him in the backfield or, he's splitting out to a receiver. Now he's in the slot. Move him around.
Yeah,
it drives me crazy. I'm like, this is your most dynamic player on offense right now, aside from Travis. But move Dylan around.
Yeah,
and they
we're
don't
not utilizing him. Yeah, we're not utilizing him.
So
there's some inspiration I think that we can kind of gather from ASU with how Kenny Dillingham is using Scattaboo. Man, he's all over the place now. I don't necessarily want Dylan Edwards throwing any passes, but
can he? That's the question. That's the question.
We should want to find out, because that would be fun. But man, there are so many more wrinkles I think that we could be showing in this offense. However, I think one thing that I've kind of learned as this, season has gone on, you can only install so much, up front. And I think this game plan that we saw against USC was, incorporating a lot more of the stuff that we've been asking for and hoping to see out of the last few weeks, over the last few weeks. And I think that's only going to continue to grow. But I got a question for y'all. So when Travis comes back, I think probably after our bye week, what do we do at wide receiver? I mean, Omari Miller has to be starting right now moving forward. When you're putting up 200 yards of offense in a half, you just cannot. In the way in which he was doing it, he was busting loose from, these guys that are some of the top corners. He was making catches, where the ball's basically already there.
That was an amazing catch. That was phenomenal.
Yeah. And he should have, man, if that sideline, if he was just over like another inch, he has that 2-point conversion. Like, he played so well. What happens? What happens when, once Travis is back?
Go ahead, Steve. I'll let you go first.
Man, I mean, it's a good problem to have. It's a good problem to have. But I mean, I think what you're seeing is, I think Weaver is probably a little banged up. You probably got Jimmy Horn a little banged up. Those guys were just, taking, the full load the first couple of weeks. So I'm sure you got guys, Omarion going to come in, fill some time in, let those guys rest a little bit. Travis Hunter will do his thing. Travis Hunter is going to get his reps. I'm not worried about Travis Hunter getting reps on offense and defense. He'll get in there because that's just who he is. He's that talented. Amari Miller, I think he'll start splitting time with other receivers like Horn and Weaver just to help alleviate some of that, time on the field. Dude, there's Hopkins back there as well. There's depth back there that needs to hit the field, that needs to shine. And as more we tap into that, the more you're going to see this depth come in, and it's going to see, hey, well, we'll go ahead and, gives you more options to run different types of plays, and also to go ahead and put more guys in the field together and see what's a good combination. It's a good problem to have. But Travis Hunter, no matter what, he wants to play 200 downs. I don't care. He gets out there, offense, defense, does whatever he wants. He can play quarterback. Just kidding. Should've, you got it. So, yeah.
Man, no doubt. I think, man, the more guys that you got that can produce like this, man, it's really going to benefit your team. Playing with rhythm, playing with pace as well and of course, if we have another injury, hopefully not. But yeah, to see the way that he's showing out, it's so encouraging. And yeah, it was really cool to see that Snoop Dogg kind of gave him some love after the game too. Love to see that. But man, I kind of want to get back real quick. If you guys still got a little bit more time, talk about Alt McCaskill. Alan Keefe brought up this point. Every major program won Alton, and with good reason. Any time he takes the snap, he is capable of breaking it long, taking it to the house. Watch his tape when he played at Houston. Yes. And I would hope that this is a game against Arizona State where we get to see him on the field more. Give him, 10 to 15 snaps. Heck, I would love to see him get 10 to 15 touches, but I don't know if that is, realistic. What do you guys think the plan is right now for Alton? Is it really going to be one of these things where, you're really going to have to go above and beyond what Hankerson is doing right now? Or is it somewhere we might see a little bit more of a rotation?
I'm gonna go back to what I said before. I think it's going to be based on what we see in practice. So if we see the Alton McCaskill that Alan just mentioned from 2 years ago, pre-ACL injury, if we see that Alton McCaskill and Coach Prime sees that Alton McCaskill in practice, he's going to get more reps, and leading all the way to that first team rep, those first team reps being the guy that Coach Flea said that he was brought in to be. So, yes, it was true. A lot of programs wanted him. Coach Flea mentioned in the offseason that he was brought in to be the guy, the main guy. But coming off an ACL injury is different for everybody. Some people are able to miraculously heal from those and come back after 6-7 months. It takes longer for people to for others to trust that knee like they did pre-injury. And I think honestly, he says he's ready. A lot of people say he's ready to go, blah blah blah. If he was really ready to go and be that Alton McCaskill pre-injury, we would have seen that by now. That's my opinion. I don't think he's 100% trusting that knee, ready to hit a run. He probably hasn't hit a long run like that in practice, so that's why he's still a rotational back at this point. There's plenty of time left in the season, however, so we can get him there. Perhaps ASU is the game to get him there. I think he's gonna have to have a breakout moment similar to Amarian Miller, before he becomes the Alton McCaskill that we want him to be. He's gonna have to show it in the game, and before the game, he's gonna have to show it in practice leading up to the game. And I don't think he's put together a complete week of practice to have that opportunity to show and prove in a game.
Yep. That makes sense. And and I think, again, this is something that I've just been clamoring for, but what do I know as a keyboard coach? But man, I would love to see some implementation of some 2-back sets, if whether that's with Hankerson, McCaskill, Edwards, kind of a rotation of those three. I think it would be you could do some fun things with that. And I hope that this week we don't get away from the run game. 50-50 ratio, 45 passes to 45 rushes this past week. That was awesome. I hope that we inflict pain on both sides of the ball. Again, this is something that, someone had a comment about how the pressure is on us to handle business this week. It absolutely is. This needs to set the tone for the rest of conference play, that we're not going to be, walked over. That we are going to be the ones going in and dominating, moving forward. And it's going to be really important. I will say this, if there's any players watching this, I don't know if this would help us get off to a fast start, but I will put some money on the over for CU in that first quarter, baby. And that means if y'all hit that, I can buy more NIL stuff. Y'all have to get off to a fast start now. That's just what I need. But yeah, what do you guys think are, some other keys for us to making sure we come out the gate, ready to just dominate?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's honestly, like, I know that, David, you're super excited about this game. You want them just to destroy ASU, but I am also in the same field of, like, Colorado State. They were told that they would destroy that team, and Colorado State came into Folsom and went ahead and made it a game. So anyone who lines up on the field in college football, I'm sure it could be anybody on the field. So I feel like Arizona State's a pretty good team. They've been in pretty good games with pretty good teams as well. I just want Colorado. My main key points are to Colorado put together a really good game, similar to what they did at TCU, play cohesively as a unit, and let Sean Lewis open up that playbook, like you're saying, David, and let's give us some gimmick play. Let's do some flea flickers. Let's do something to put some juice into this offense so people are afraid of this offense moving forward. But I think it's going to be a slow burn because you've got a lot of young guys who are still playing together, who are still trying to figure out what this offense is. I think we're just seeing glimpses of it with different rotational players and different types of scheme we're doing. But as these guys get back healthy throughout the year, we're going to see a more, hopefully a more, all-together team that's going to, be what the team should have been throughout the year, but you can't really predict injuries. Honestly, just get in there, play well, be diligent, and don't worry about the noise. Focus on your own, your own task. Focus on that one play at a time mentality. Then they will get the win. No matter what, just focus on winning your task, that play.
Love it. Love it. The man above. Want to give a shout out to him. Always here in the chat. That's my take as well. Just win the game. Can't overlook anyone. 1-0, 1 week at a time. So let's wrap this up by giving. I don't really care too much for predictions, but if you guys have like a name or two of guys that you want to see have their moment or show out, now's the time to name that. So, Laurence, do you got a couple names off the bat that you'd want to see show out this week?
I'm gonna go with a unit, and then I'll go with a name. So the unit would be the front 7 defensively for CU. Again, this is a opponent that we should dominate. So I need to see some tackles for loss. I need to see some tackles for loss, run stuff in plays, filling your gaps. I need to see some quarterback hurries. I need to see that front 7 step up and make some plays. They were much maligned in the offseason. We saw the well-off videos, how they was beating on the offensive line and all the drills and stuff. And we just were thinking like, oh, man, these guys are going to be some sack monsters. We just haven't seen that yet. So I need to see the front 7 dominate an inferior opponent. And then the name I will give you is who we just talked about, Art McCaskill. And in order to get Alton going, we're going to have to jump up and play from ahead. I would like to see us play from ahead for a change. The game flow has not dictated, for the most part, CU establishing a running game because we've been down 14 points. We've been down 7 with 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. So that's why what Steve just mentioned, go in there, get to a quick start, and play from ahead. Then you can go ahead and run the ball. And even if you go, have to punt, you could go back to the run the next drive because you're still playing from ahead. So I would like to see us dominate, play from ahead, establish the running game, give Alto 100 yards.
My man's hitting the computer. He's hitting the computer. We all got to make sure
front 7 play a dominant game. That's what I want to see. I know that was more than just two names, but that's what I want to see.
No, that was perfect. What about you, Steve?
You know what, man? I just want to see Shador to go ahead and show out. I just want him to go ahead and do his thing and let the receivers, catch the ball and get upfield. None of this sideline dancing sideways. Get upfield. Let's get some yard. Let's get going. High octane. And you know what, David? Initially, I wasn't on board with this, let's go. But you know what? I'm actually feeling this now. I'm feeling this offense, feeling this going. So I'm now starting to feel warming up to that idea. So I say, if we can do it, and I think we can. We got the skill set to do it. Let's go ahead and open up that playbook and let's get this thing going. And let's go ahead and let's start to get some wins going so we can get back on the winning side and start making other teams in the Pac-12 start worrying about that Colorado team who no one thought they could be any good. But you know what? They're pretty dang good. And they got some depth and they're not going away. So everyone who thought Colorado was going to go away after 1 or 2 losses against a number 10 team and number 8 team, sorry, guys, we're still sticking around. We're not going anywhere. So,
no doubt. Start out aggressive. Look to be that bully. That's what I want to see. So, my keys to the game. I know we've learned our lesson with this, but even if we're stepping on the logo, making sure that that's not on video this week.
Got to edit that out.
That would be great. But I'm going to hit on the front 7 as well, Laurence. We have a guy who's playing a revenge game. Jawan Mitchell, baby. I want to see him all over the field. I want to see him tackling Scattaboo for loss all the time. And as a unit, it would be great to see the defense not let up any of these big runs. We did a pretty good job against Marshawn Lloyd outside of that first quarter touchdown where he was looking like Barry Sanders. We just kind of got to eliminate this 10% that we're like screwing up. So that's what I'm really going to be hoping for. And I'm going to stick with the defense for a couple players, other players I'd like to see show out. Again, this team turns the ball over a lot. So I would love to see either Roderick Ward or Cormani McClain get their first interception. I mean, how cool would that be? So that's what I'm going to be hoping for. And I guess, how can I forget this as well? I want to see a perfect game from special teams. Lord, please. This is the game where we get it right. It has to be. There has to be a turning point here.
It's right? A revenge game for Jace Feely as well. So,
yeah,
there you go. He can use the same mojo as Juju Mitchell.
Hey, I love that. Yes, be nailing those touchbacks, and it would be nice to see him make some field goals as well. But man, I just want to see. I want to see perfection. I know that that's a high standard, but I want to see perfection and domination. And man, I'm excited to see our team go at it. You know, I'm taking the points on that -4.5, baby. You know, man, my Buffs are going to take care, or our Buffs will hopefully, take care of business in a dominant fashion. But again, guys, really appreciate your time hopping on here. It's always a pleasure. Maybe we do some more of these, round tables. I think, this was kind of fun. So, Steve, always appreciative of your time. And guys, y'all got to go subscribe to Steve. His channel's in my description. Really quick, what do you do on your channel? Where can they find you? And what should they be expecting to see from you?
You know what, guys? Go ahead and come over to the Go Route. The Go Route's diving into pretty much all things college football when it comes to not only Colorado. Mostly that's what I talk about, but a little bit of other college football. You know, I'm like you guys. I love college football. Want to talk about it. So go ahead, take a look at my videos. Just try to have fun with it. Talk about fun topics. So go check it out, the Go Route on YouTube, just for college football. It's all fun. So
I love that. I love that. Well, thanks again for your time, Laurence. Where can they find you as well?
You can find me on your channel, Dave.
I forget your Twitter handle. What's your Twitter handle?
My Twitter handle is Laurence with a U Collins. So yeah, I do have a Twitter, but I don't have a channel myself. I just come here to support you, support Rod the Man, the media as well. So shout out to David Talks Buzz. Shout out to Rod the Man Media. Shout out to my brother Zion in the chat. I hope you over there behaving. The trolls be after him just like me. So
oh man. Yeah, man. I love Zion, man. Day one guy, man. So really appreciate all y'all tuning in. Got some exciting things tomorrow, including Big Dog and Dave tomorrow at 5 p.m. And then I think I'm going to have a film review with John K tomorrow afternoon. So y'all be on the lookout for that. More content coming to you before we get to the game on Saturday. But again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Hit that like on the way out. Help support the channel. And as always, Go Buffs.